All right, you're about to go through another amazing interview with a very powerful, very incredible, influential human being. What I love about this interview that you're going to go through is what it is you earn when you do this as a business in your strengths. What you're going to see in this interview is excitement, enthusiasm, fun, and you're also going to see some heart. You're going to see some fire. You're going to see an amazing person who has gone through sacrifice to get where they are. And what comes out of this is nothing but a massive amount of overwhelming gratitude. And my friends, if I can ask you to take anything away from this next interview, it's this. What's it going to take for you to care this much about who you are and what you do? So enjoy this amazing interview from someone who I feel honored to call friend, Michelle Cannon. Enjoy. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing interview in the Strengths of Diamonds experience. My friends, I have a very powerful one for you. I cannot wait because, there's a lot of people in the world, but also in doTERRA, obviously, that it's just so easy to be around. And in fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine about how there's just people in the world that just feels like what they do is make people feel comfortable, to not make you work. And it's so nice to be around high level performers who just make you feel so comfortable and loved and supported. And I'm going to say that this is one of this person's secrets to building their business. But without any further ado, I can't wait for you all to get to know and understand one of my favorite people on the planet, a person I'm honored to call friend, of course, the amazing Michelle Cannon. Hello, Michelle.
Hello. Hey, you guys.
So good to have you here. Thank you so much for doing
Thank you
this.
for having me. I'm really excited to go over all this. So thank you, Eddie. Right back at you.
All right. We're going to have some fun. Okay. First question out the gate, Michelle. So, Rick, by the way, I forgot to mention, what is your rank? I forgot to mention at the beginning. I usually do that, but sometimes I forget.
Yep. Blue Diamond.
Okay. Michelle Cannon, Blue Diamond. So Michelle, how did you, let's talk about real quick, your history and understanding strengths. We're going to break down your report in a few moments. But how did you get introduced personally? How did you hear about strengths, and what has been your experience with it so far?
So I heard about it at Leadership. What was that? Few years ago, right? About 3 years ago. Very first time I even heard anything about it, honestly. And I would say my experience now versus when I first heard about it and first took my, kind of assessment to see where I was at is totally different. Because when I did take it for the first time, I was actually in a really kind of yucky spot in my life. So, at the beginning, I'm like looking through all this and at first was thinking, well, are all these things as we dive into it, does it have to do with my current situation or is this really me? So I had a hard time for a little while with it, but as I've used my top strengths to help me, I've understood that it didn't really matter what phase of life I was in. They're still to the core, like who I am truly. It's just using the power differently, right?
Right on. Okay. So when you first got introduced, was it like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun, I can't wait to get into it? Or you're like, oh, whatever. Like,
I was totally all about it, trying to understand myself as a person. So I was for it, but I didn't really like deep dive into it for a while. So it took me a bit, but I was excited. So
is context a low strength for you?
I'm looking here. Let's see. Context. Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you why later why I asked that question.
31.
It's 31. Okay. I'll tell you why a little later why I asked that question. Okay.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to do today. I'm so excited about this. So we're going to get right to it. We're going to look at your top 10 strengths, and then we're going to look at some of your bottom strengths. And what I want you to do is, as I'm describing some of these strengths to you, or as we're talking about them, just keep in mind, like, how have they shown up in your business, and what is it you love about, like, what aspect of building the business do you enjoy? Because here's my thing, Michelle, and I know you're going to resonate with this. There are so many people out there that are comparing themselves in a way that is not productive. It's not just not productive in their business, but it's not productive in their lives. And what I want to do is expose how nobody builds this business the same way. So I'm excited to hear how you do it. Obviously you have a major internet presence, but we don't have to talk about that. If that's not something that fires you up, we can get in however you want. But here's what I'm going to bring up a white screen here.
Okay.
And let's see if I can find it actually. Hold on. and then I'm going to draw on the screen what your strengths are. Okay.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
let's get into it. All right. Let's start with number one.
Yep. Restorative.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, look at that. I can't wait to talk about that one. Okay, number two.
Empathy.
Okay. Number three.
Includer.
Okay.
Communication.
Okay.
And then I'm looking for developer. It's number 5.
And we're going to look at 6 through 10 as well. Developer or store.
Okay.
Hold on a second. What the? Okay, hold on. Developer and restorative. Okay, we're gonna spend some time on that in a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until we get all 10. So let me get number 6 through 10.
Belief.
Oh my goodness. All right, go on. Number 7.
Adaptability.
Okay, I'll tell you why I'm like going, what? Okay. All right, number 8.
Number 8 is woo.
Totally makes sense. And number 9.
Futuristic.
Okay.
And then
number
ideation.
10.
Ideation.
Okay, now I get it. All right, so here's what I'm going to talk about real briefly, and then I'll kind of take your strengths from a more macro place. Okay, developer and restorative. I want to talk about this combo for just a second. I have this book over here, and it's called, they only give it to certified strengths coaches for some strange reason. It's really not that big of a deal, but I'm going to share with you what this book says when we're combining 2 strengths and what this book says when it comes to developer and restorative. And I'm going to read this phrase to you. And what I want you to think of is, how does it show up in your business? Okay. How does it show up in your business? So developer restorative combo. And it says this. Okay. When others have a problem. Oh, I get it. Okay. I know exactly how it works. When others have a problem that hinders their growth, I enjoy helping them solve it so that they can resume their progress.
Yes. Wow. Yep. And it's so interesting when you say that, because that is 100% like, I want to jump in and fix and save and give ideas and then make things better. And I, not only in my business, Eddie, but like in life. And it is so crazy how that is like 100% me, like to the core.
Well, it's your number 5 and your number 1, which I teach in my group and my communities and everything. These are your core strengths. These are like the ones that are like where you are. Well, I'll be honest. You know how you have belief and that level of stubbornness that you have. Mm-hmm. Like it comes like it's like it's enhanced by those desires. Like I would say if I were Michelle Cannon, I would say I'm Michelle Cannon, and one of my core values is to be present with people to see how we can help them.
Yep.
Right. And if Absolutely. I ask you to build your business in a way that gets in the way of those things, like, for example, if I say, hey, Michelle, forget about what people feel. I just want you on stage and I just want you to put on a show. Yeah. You feel that? Like that? Ugh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Totally.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, can I talk about how, like, even it shows up? Do you want me to talk about in a positive aspect or how I'm also
however
seeing...
you want, however you feel called to share.
So here's the thing. I've noticed this as a strength. And for anybody who, watches this and is trying to understand your own strengths and seeing the positive side of it, mm-hmm. I can see how this can be a great tool. And I've loved this and I've watched this through my business. And I've also noticed as I've grown over the last few years and trying to develop in my strengths and my leadership ability, I've also seen how when I put these two together, right, I get put in front of a situation and I'm in a need to help somebody and I want to, give solutions and answers. And then say I do that and then there's no action taken. Mm-hmm. It really hinders me to want to continue to show up. And I've noticed not in my life, but right with this person or in a situation. And that hinders me and that holds me back, because I'm like, okay, here's the steps. Let's do this. You've got this. They're all excited. I'm ready to give you a solution. And then nothing happens. And then I feel, what did I do wrong? right? Like I don't know if maybe you can see this in my strengths, but there's oftentimes like, did I say the wrong thing? Did I not give the right advice? And so sometimes it can get in the way. But then I've also seen it other times where we have come out with a solution and it is rewarding to be like, I'm so glad I care about those little things because they do make an impact, you know?
Yeah. So when we're looking at your strengths here, you do have a desire to connect with people. However, there's this need to make sure things are done the right way, moving people forward and using our minds. So when I'm looking at your strengths like this from a whole, it's to connect, but these three things must happen. They're like a secondary, like they have to happen. If people aren't moving forward, then why all the connection? If people aren't getting
Mm,
things done, why all the connection? If people aren't learning, why all the connection?
yeah.
And I'm starting to see that and looking at your strengths, developers have a desire to encourage people and to see them progress, but don't want to just go tell them what to do and force them.
Yeah.
And you've had situations where people who you care about just aren't moving, and you don't want to go risk the relationship by telling them you're not fulfilling your bargain. You're into the bargain. You're so you don't. And here I'm gonna tell you something really cool that Justin Harrison just told me a couple days ago. He's a dominant relationship builder, more so than you. And one of the things I asked him, I said, Justin, you've got command low, you've got all these like hardcore intense, like he's got command and discipline and these strengths low. And I'm like, Justin, I don't get it. How can you be one of the top leaders in the whole company, yet I don't see any strengths here that show that you're a person who holds people accountable? And he looked at me and goes, I can't do it. I tell people, you're going to have to chase me because I'm not going to go after you when, if you're not doing the work. I can't. Right.
Yeah.
Like, does that resonate with you?
Totally. Like 100%. I mean, it even, you know me, Eddie, I get a little emotional, but all the feelings are really kind of who I am and what I bring, to my everyday life. But like it is so true. And I can resonate with that a lot because that I'm not one to like repetitively go after the same situation over and over and over because it brings me more stress. I don't know if that's even the right word to say, but it does. Like I like to feel fulfilled with people who are ready. Does that make sense? And I resonate so much with that. Like I totally I get where he's coming from.
There's a lot of people who are, Michelle, look, I want you to think about this. You and I both know there's a lot of people that are just starting this business right now because, a lot of people need it. A lot of people need some sort of a place to generate a side income badly
Yeah.
because money is being taken out of their hands right now. And a lot of them are like you and me and Justin, where we're not the people to call people and say, why aren't you moving forward? Why aren't you doing what you
Yeah.
said you're going to do? I need to kick your butt. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like help them understand that they don't have to be that if that's not who they are.
Yeah. So when I try to use my strengths in a negative way, like get out there and be like, come on, you got to do this, it's never genuine and I never see results. And, to encourage anybody who sees this and maybe has something similar to me, the way I see people have results is when I genuinely like you have to really listen to who is it that you're working with that wants to put in the same effort in their own way as you're putting into them. And that's fulfilling, right? Like that, I mean, it really, we don't want people chasing us. You guys, as you do this business or anybody who starts this business brand new, you'll see that we all grow differently. And there's times, Eddie, where I've been like, if only I didn't have all these like connecting strengths in my top, I'd be so much more successful. But it's really not the truth. It's just really understanding, use your strengths to be successful, not to be something else, you know?
Yeah. This is heavy stuff. It's
Yeah.
emotional stuff. I, if I was somehow magically, coaching you, the last thing I would do is say, hey, Michelle, you need to go hold some people accountable. Because that's not, like you just said, that's not going to be where you're going to show up in a way that's inspiring other people to want to do this business.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So when you're, we're gonna go a little bit further. I just want to ask one question real quick. When somebody comes to you and says, "All right, I'm Michelle," and you've had this, Michelle, I'm ready.
Oh,
oh boy,
yes.
here we go, right? Michelle, I'm so ready. What do I need to do? What is your process for helping a person take those steps? What would you say is your process? Just you can just even think it out loud here.
Yeah. So I actually really like to go back to when I started because one of the hiccups I always get, and I've changed the way I've done this as I've learned more about my strengths. I like to relate with others, right? Like I really do. I like to put myself in situations where I can see where they're coming from. So I do start off with, I've been in your position, and maybe not every leader or every person who decides to do this, but starting off with $0. I mean, Eddie, you know my story of when I first began 5 years ago and to where, you know, like literally paying my $100 LRP was absolutely like heartbreaking because I knew it was money I couldn't spend, but I had that vision, right? And so I really like to put myself in people's shoes of not where Michelle is now. Yeah, jump in, just pay for your order. You can do this. And I don't say that in a bad way, but I mean it more. I know where you are and I want to relate to that. And I want to show you how it's possible to not ever go in the hole or to lose money or to, let's start this off now and only grow from here. And so my experience of what I do to help people is, hey, you got to do your LRP and be upfront and honest about that of 100 PV or more. But moving forward, let's get that paid for right away. And if you're committed to doing some of these basic steps, I can show you exactly what to do. Right? I'm not here to say, let's make you silver in a month or two. Like, I want to say, let's show you it's possible to get your order paid for right away. And I feel like for me, and maybe it's me, maybe not everybody's this way, but it helps me feel less scared to launch somebody as a builder, knowing that we can say, hey, we've both been in the same position and it's possible to come out the other side.
Okay, this is so cool. So I got to share with you what I wrote down here because what we're teaching people is how to mentor. Because what we need, we all need, we need people to join us. We need people to be a part of our mission. And in order to grow the business, man, we need help. We can't do this ourselves. You and I both, you know what that's like, right? When you're feeling like the only one doing everything and it's just like it's detrimental to our health in many ways. And so when somebody's saying, okay, I'm ready, I want to do this, or I'm interested, right? It becomes, I've done a lot of interviews on how to get people interested. So I love where we're at right now. But so the number one step is to go back to where you started. So we're telling people, okay, go back to where you were when you started. Remember where you were, where you knew nothing, and you're nervous. You don't even know if this is going to work or not, right? Like we forget what that mindset is like.
Totally.
Right? To not even know if this is possible, and then to relate by putting ourselves where they are. And so I imagine you do that with a lot of question asking. Is that true?
Yes. Yep. I do like to bring myself into the position someone's currently in. So, and maybe it's just me, but help them feel better about a situation. And that's if somebody can feel better because I'm being able to be open with them, that I've experienced the same stuff, I feel better. And I know that's something that, I do even outside of this business is letting someone relate to the struggles that I've experienced myself.
Right. Okay. So with developer and restorative, we're looking at where the cracks in the foundation are. That's restorative. And developer is like, okay, what are the tools that we have to build up this foundation? Look at the smile that's on your face right now. Like, okay, so if you go at everything this way, right? And plus you have futuristic, and futuristic is sort of like restorative. Okay. But so having futuristic at, where it's at, there's a vision of the future that inspires you, but your first instinct, which is restorative, is to focus on the cracks in the foundation that are keeping you from there. Right. Yes. So where can I focus? This is something that Natalie Goddard is really amazing at too, just FYI. So I'm kind of painting some similarities. Natalie Goddard is exactly the same way. She'll talk about foundations all day because she is also a relationship builder with restorative, much like you. And so the foundation, and then it's like, okay, with my developer strength, duo, how can we focus on what's great about you to help solidify this foundation, like you said, which is the next step. And I love this, which is to show what's possible and then Grow from the first steps first, right? Okay, I'm ready
Yeah.
to start. Okay, we're not going to be talking about hitting presidential diamond right now. We're going to talk about the first step first, which is let's get your products paid for. And once you build products, once you get that ability, okay, developer, I'm going to ask you now. Once a person has gotten to that point from I don't know if this business is going to work to the business is actually paying for my product, what's happening in their mind when that transition happens?
They see that, I mean, and maybe this is for me, but they can gain that confidence that, okay, well, Michelle is my leader, told me like if I can get my oils paid for and move forward at this pace, then hopefully as we move forward, that direction is going to give me even more confidence knowing that, hey, it is these baby steps, right? It is these small steps that create a better foundation. And that's really, I mean, nothing's worse than 6 months down the road and someone's like, I haven't made a dollar. And, and you want to go in and be like, well, here's X, Y, and Z, maybe why you didn't. I think that would have been me, Eddie, a few years ago. But I think where I'm at now is I've really developed my strengths. I don't want to paint a picture that's unrealistic to someone who isn't in the same frame of mind as myself right now. Not that I'm in a perfect state, right? But it's that development. And so
Yeah.
for me, it gains that trust that, hey, give these steps, let me do them, let me see results, and I'm going to keep doing these until I get to where I want to be.
Okay. So cool. All right. I love it. All right. Let's talk about so what just by talking about this, we're seeing developer, restorative are coming in. Obviously, empathy is showing up. I can see it on your face. Like it's almost like I'm watching you right now and you're thinking of people, aren't you?
Totally.
You're envisioning people, and then with your includer in communication, you're thinking about how can we bring them all to the game and how can we inspire them with your words. Hey, by the way, when you talk, do you move your hands a lot? Is that a thing?
Yes, I would say sometimes I have to like keep my hands down. It can get too much. I'm like up here.
Yeah, that's a communication thing. And so belief, I want to give you credit on something real quick, and I want you to kind of give me just a sentence or two on this. When a
Okay.
person has high belief, there's a stubbornness about them that other people can rely on or depend on or even count on, like they just know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of times when I use the word stubborn, people think it's a bad thing, and I'm like, no, you have no idea. Like stubborn is the greatest thing ever for a person with high belief. I want you to talk about how you are the person that people can rely on when things aren't going well for them.
Um, I don't know why that question made me choke up, but I would think that, or at least from my experiences, not only, outside of doTERRA, but in doTERRA, I would say that I am one to take on somebody's issue and kind of carry it, right? Like that's because if I carry it, then they're happier, or at ease with building their business, or kind of take that on. But where I'm getting at with this is sometimes it can be an easy place to come where someone knows I'm going to listen. And I'm really good at that, but sometimes I'm not great at sharing that to others about me, right? And so it's a safe place for people to come. And whether that's really good and I have those friendships that come and I could always expect the same thing back. There's also the reverse where people will come and be dependable on Michelle, but when Michelle shows up, there may be no one there, right? And I don't mean this in a bad way. It's not a poor me. I'm just giving you a
Yeah.
realistic like expectation of this strength where I can see the really good and the really bad.
Yeah. People of high belief tend to be leaned on, but don't realize that you're a human being who needs someone to lean on too. Yeah. And
Mm.
because you're so good at being there for other people. See, I just want everybody to understand, man, this is powerful. This is really important stuff. A lot of people look at people who are blue diamonds, presidential diamonds, and double this and double that. And you think that they just think that you're a bunch of machines who you know, just go out there and tell people what to do with your cool fancy words. And now here you are bearing the burdens of the world and caring so much that it affects you personally and physically. I can see it. Okay, now we're in this space and we're like really kind of in loving, embracing and who you are right now. Tell me, how does this desire to connect and to make sure things are done the right way with your core values and restore things, how does that show up when you're building your business on Instagram? I'm curious about that, how you operate there.
Yeah. So one thing for me is I care more about, like I say, relating. So if I'm on Instagram and if you guys follow me on my page, you'll see there's not a whole lot of my life that I hide. That when it comes to the maybe some of the things that aren't so great in my life, or maybe some of the things I do struggle with, not like pouring my negativity out, but I'm also not here to create a perfect picture. And I never will be. And that is not to the strength who I am to pretend to be something that I know an outsider could come in and look, oh, she has all these followers and her life's perfect. I would never want someone to feel that way on my feed. And so for me, showing up the way that is really truly me, getting rid of judgment from others or unfollows from others, that's more satisfying in the work that I do than anything else. And it brings the right people into my business and into my life. So I just think exposing really who you are allows more room for other people to come in and feel accepted and to feel loved and to feel like somebody is going to be there for them to grow their business or to help them in their life, you know? So
It's pretty cool. So you don't have, well, how many followers do you have on Instagram?
72,000. So there's there's a handful of people that get to see the ins and outs of my life, but you know, it's the right people. The right people come.
Okay. All right. We're gonna so here's the basic thing with Instagram is that I'm getting is share your life, keep it real, not perfect, and expose it to in order to bring the right people into your world.
Yeah,
And look at that.
absolutely.
Look at that. Being who you are really attracts a lot of people.
Yeah.
So highly recommend everybody follows Michelle on Instagram if you want to see how to do it right. All right, because we're running really, really long time here. So I want to just go real super fast on the bottom strength so everybody can understand, right? How to let go of that crap. So what is 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34?
Okay. 30 is a ranger.
Okay, hold on. Go ahead.
I'm just looking on here. I don't know my bottom strengths way well. Okay. Did I do 31? No, 32
Oh,
is
wait, a Ranger is 31?
oh no, ranger's 30.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's it. What's 31?
And then 31. Sorry, I'm like looking at my thing here. Obviously, I don't really play to my bottom strengths very much.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
I'm not seeing 31 on here. Let me give you as I'm doing okay, context, sorry.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
Yep, and then deliberative. And then maximizer.
Okay. That's the opposite
Relate
of your restorative.
yeah, and
Okay.
34 is relator.
All right. We're going to stop right here. Okay.
Boom.
I am Michelle Cannon, and I love to do everything in a way that honors my desire to connect with the right people and make sure that they are supported, cared for, moving forward, getting things done, and being creative. What shuts me down is if I think I have to put all the things together for maximum productivity, think about my past, overthink, only focus on what's great to make it better, or only connect to a select few people. Right.
Absolutely.
And I get to, this is Michelle, right? I get to just focus on what's great about people and repair foundations to bring back greatness.
That was really good.
Yeah. Does that feel like you?
That feels exactly like me.
Okay. So letting go of those bottom ones pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't need it.
And when I don't, Eddie, I just have to say that for anybody who does get to see this, don't feel bad if you do hang on to those bottom strengths. Because I do have to remind myself, like, don't work in a place that really doesn't serve me, not only my business, but in my life. But also, please know that it is very normal, even as a top leader or someone who appears successful, we do pull from those sometimes thinking it'll give us a better outcome if one thing's not working. So I do my very best, and I know the things I have to do to stay out of those situations. So I stick to those, right? And to be able to move my business forward, I stay consistent in those actions.
Okay. One last question and we'll let you go. Thank you so much. Man, I adore you. So now that we've kind of like, we're in this like really love fest about your strengths and what's wonderful about you. And you're really nailing down a couple of them, right? We're just really kind of like going, okay, what's awesome about Michelle and how can she go do the things she wants to do? Because you got goals just like all of us right now. If you could just take a moment and go back in time to where you may have felt like who you were was not enough or maybe too much. And without going into the details of what happened, because that's not really relevant to this question. The question is, if you can go back to that Michelle and sit her down, right? Maybe have a drink or whatever, coffee, water, whatever, and talk. Now that you know what your strengths are and where you're wonderful, what would you tell that Michelle?
I don't know why this is making me cry, Eddie. I'm so sorry. Um, I think
Real.
the number one thing I would say is one, recognizing that you're gonna, like, if I'm talking to me, 3, 4 years ago, please know that you're going to experience highs and lows, and that is okay. But to really focus on when you're in those moments of those lows, to look around you and see what is it that you are currently doing or surrounding yourself with, or the people you are letting impact you. At the beginning of where I was, I'd allow the wrong people and the wrong situations to have so much control over me, when really the situations and people knew nothing about me. So why allow those kinds of things to make you unhappy or feel unsure about you? But I would say that if you could really learn that being yourself will be the most successful tool, I probably would have had a lot more confidence back in the day. But right, it's a whole life experience that gets you to where you're at. And then you hit this growth pattern, and it's super hard because you have to accept that there are things that are not going right in your life because you have to make some changes. But those changes will be the hardest thing you will ever make, but at the same time, allow you to be an example for other people. So it would be the Michelle, hold on tight, get to where you need to be, go through the hard, so that when you get there, everybody else around you can know that they can do the same thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Cannon. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Cannon. Woo! Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for caring so much. And we're out here on a mission, Michelle. We're going to help the world, and you're a part of it. And I'm just so grateful for you. And for those of you that are watching this, take that wisdom, write it all down. That advice she just gave to herself, my friends, that's for you. She just poured her heart out for you. Now go do something with it. Go help the world. We're counting on you to be who you are, to help us all love who we are even more. Thank you, Michelle. You're wonderful.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everybody. We'll see you all in the next interview. Bye, everybody.
See ya.